So I was just outside doing some yard work, and I only say that because if you see me sweat in this video, that is the reason why. But FedEx arrived here at the house with a box from CGC, and I rushed up here to the comic book room to do the unboxing. I think that there's some good stuff in this one. Stay tuned. Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. As I mentioned in that brief intro, we are going to unbox some comics that have shown up from CGC. And the very first book that I pulled out of the box a second ago is this one right here. It is Web of Spider-Man issue number 118. And this one came back with a 9.2 white pages. This is the first solo clone story, also a Venom appearance, and the Scarlet Spider is in this one. Very cool book. Came back 9.2. I think that there's at least one more copy of that in here. That is not what I just pulled out, but it is a cool book nevertheless. I found a couple of copies of this one in the collection. And what's funny is when I released a video showing what I was sending in, somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, can I buy one of those? And I'm like, I would sell it to you, but unfortunately they've gone to CGC. The Spectre issue number 54. This one came back a 9.6 with white pages, and this is the origin and first appearance of the new Mr. Terrific Michael Holt. Again, not one of my favorite covers at all, but definitely a cool book to have found in the collection. And I want to say again, I may have found like 3 copies of that book total. Let's see what else we have in here. Okay, here we go. This is the Web of Spider-Man 118. Another, I think, 9.2, right? Yeah, 2 9.2s on this one. This one also has the white pages in there. All right. Let's take a look. What else we have in here? Another Spectre book. This one actually came back at a 9.4. Origin and first appearance of Michael Holt right there. White pages. Yeah, white pages on that one. Very cool books. Two copies of each of the last 2 books. Ooh, I was hoping that this one would come back at a 9.8. We did not get there, but we came close. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures number 1. Came back a 9.6 with white pages. I thought that this one had a shot at that 9.8. We'll have to take a look at the grader's notes to see whether there's any detail in there as to why that may have occurred. This one is definitely scuffed up. This case it has a couple of scuffs on that one. Thought it was on the book at first, but not at a 9.8. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, so we did send all 3. All 3 copies of Web of Spider-Man 118 went in. This one came back a 9.4 with white pages. So three copies of Web of Spider-Man 118. Oof, this is a cool book. This one is cool. Oh, this is cool. I was hoping for, yeah, the spine tick right there. I can see it clear as day. Punisher Limited Series number 1 came back 9.6 with white pages. You gotta love some Frank Castle action. Definitely a cool book. I had those Punisher books set to the side for a while. I actually have quite a few copies still kind of set to the side. Not as nice as that one. I sent that one because I thought it had a shot. This one did not have a shot. It's same book. This one came back at a 9.2. My guess is that there are some defects on there. What's great though is that because of my low acquisition costs for these books, even with the clean press grade ship, these books are still in the positive territory when you look at, you know, the cost versus the value. So whatever the grades are, of course you want higher, but in this instance, it almost does not matter. Here is a cool book. This is a book that has been super hot for the last couple of months because of the Deadpool 3 movie. And this one, I don't remember there being that many defects on this book, but maybe so. I'll have to go back and look at it. Wolverine issue number 88. This one came back at a 9.4 with white pages. Definitely has some very apparent spine ticks on this one. Do not recall that, but again, take photos before you send books in. That way you can check them against what ultimately comes back. This one is nice though. This is a win. This is definitely a win. Same book. 9.8 on that one. White pages. definitely a cool book. And again, super hot because of the Deadpool 3 movie and the battle that will ensue more than likely between Wolverine and Deadpool, aka Hugh Jackman. So a 9.8 on that one. This is a cool book that I thought was going to get a 9, cool book that I thought would get a 9.8. It actually came back at a 9.6. With lots of scuff marks inside of the case. This is Amazing Fantasy issue number 15. And I think this is the first appearance, right? First appearance of Amadeus Cho. That's right. Amadeus Cho right here. 9.6 white pages. I was keeping my fingers crossed for a 9.8, but that does not seem to be our luck with that one. This is I have a couple of copies of this. Yeah, a couple of copies. Star Wars issue number 2. I think there's a first appearance in this one. But it came back at a 9.8 with white page. I'm sorry, 9.0 with white pages. I could have swore there was a first appearance in this one. But on the label, it says Part 2, Star Wars, A New Hope movie adaptation. 9.0 on that one, and I think deservedly so. This one, the same book, came back at a 9.2. So definitely a nicer copy of that. I'm looking at the defects on that. Definitely noticeable. 9.2. No real complaints with that one. We have a slightly, well, not even slightly, a much lower grade in this next copy. This is the exact same book. Star Wars issue number 2 came back at a 6.5. And again, with the value of this book, how much I spent, clean press, we're still in a favorable position. But ideally would have loved to have a higher grade on this book. But looking at some of the defects, and again, it appears to be right where it should be. This next one and the last one is an awesome book. I have several copies of this in the collection that may find their way at some point to CGC. We will see. This is Michelangelo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1. 9.6. It has a really awesome cover that is a wraparound Christmas cover. Really cool book right there. Came back 9.6. And I do believe, yeah, that is it. So as I mentioned, I still have 4 other orders with CGC, and fingers crossed those will be making their way back to me in the next few weeks, because I kind of staggered them almost by a week or 2 weeks as I release them to them. So they should be coming back in roughly that same time period because of the turnaround time that is current with CGC. Now, with that said, many of these books that I just showed in this video are actually going to be made available tonight on my website, regiecollects.com. So if you are interested in picking up these books, I'm going to be valuing them based upon what I see on Go Collect. They're going to be on regiecollects.com. Fingers crossed that they sell. If not, they will be made available at GarageCon, which is taking place on November 11th, and then also on Whatnot as well. So if you are interested, head over to regiecollects.com, take a look. Don't be afraid to go ahead and pick the book up. If you want to make an offer, you can send me a message on Instagram or email and we'll evaluate it. I will tell you that I'm not going to be in a rush to make any type of deals at the moment, just because these are all new slabs to me. As the weeks go on, then I think I'll be in a slightly different position to want to make some deals happen. But everything will be fairly priced on the website. If you want to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yo, should you practice art? Or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master. The one that's more than a rapper. The one that's an educator. The one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts. He's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan. Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combination.